folks. Okay, yeah, we're back. It's been maybe 12 months. I don't know. New place, new projects, new house, new state. Let me flip this video around and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, yeah. So like I said, we've moved house. I think I've posted maybe, it's got to be at least, 6-8 months since I've uploaded anything to YouTube. A bit of a hectic last 12 months with the move. Obviously moved the whole shed, we moved house, we moved state, so a lot going on, but all good stuff. Everything went well, nothing major, just the normal moving, rigmarole and what goes with that, so everything's super sweet. This is the new shed, so just to give you a bit of perspective or a bit of an idea of what's going on here. This is an existing shed here that when we bought the house or bought the property, it had this shed on it, and I've extended it with that part there. So shout out to my cousin Pete for giving us a hand, and yeah, he gave us a chop out on putting this together, which is great. Made myself a little welding room, which I've always wanted to do that, just to keep the dust and debris and dirt and crap in one little area. I mean, as much as possible. Obviously, you're not going to, keep everything spotless, but it just gives me the opportunity to, well, I've got to put a door in here, or I'm actually thinking of some like bamboo beads or something like that, some retro, maybe 70s style stuff. But essentially, yeah, this is going to be where the fabrication sort of takes place. I've got my compressor and my welders, my TIG and my MIG, all set up, all my main tools on the wall there. Yeah, basically welding table. But, I do have to drag the welders out here once in a while just to sort of do some work on projects. So what have we got? I think the crew cab was probably last on the to-do list, getting that together. It's pretty much complete now. I would say 99.9% complete and ready for a roadworthy. So what does it need for a roadworthy? I need 2 bolts. That's right. So I need to bolt. Well, the seats are bolted in, but I don't have the right size bolts. So I need these. The thicker, the bigger bolt. Unfortunately, I need 10 of those. So I'm chasing 10 of these bad boys, which I think I've sorted. I can bolt the rest of the seats in. I need to make a rear license plate holder actually. So I can't actually bolt the license plate on, and not only that, I don't have a light for it. So, well, I don't have a place to actually mount the light, I should say, without it looking a bit dodge. So I'm going to do the same thing as what I did on the old shitter, the old red shitter. I'll make this bracket here that holds a license plate, and I've bought some of those little, I guess, fasteners that are actually a light as well. So that'll act as a fastener to hold the plate on, and also a license plate light. So I might make a few of those and then flog them off on a couple of Facebook groups, a couple of F-Truck Facebook groups. But yeah, look, I guess there's been a lot happening with this truck in the last, well, however long I've posted, maybe 6 to 12 months, right? It was probably, it wouldn't have had an interior in it, it wouldn't have been running, it wouldn't be braking. So all those things have been done. Spent a lot of time, a lot of effort just getting all those little fiddly bits sorted out. Maybe start with the interior, give you a rundown of what's going on here. Interior is pretty much complete, bar headlining. So that's the other thing I might need for a roadworthy. They're a bit funny here in Australia with roadworthies. They're pretty particular, a bit of a fucking nanny country. But yeah, I may need to put a headlining in, although I might get away with some, what do they call that, like pinch weld, that sort of like C sort of section, that plastic stuff, just to sort of cover those sharp corners. But yeah, seat bolts, like I said, headliner, license plate light, I think that's it. But yeah, interior is complete. Windows, I've gone through all the doors, windows wind up, they lock, they close. Had a couple of issues with a couple of broken screws, which was a bitch. Had to take, it took ages to get those out. Eventually did that. got everything working. I've still got to actually just tuck up all that wiring. I thought I'd just leave that. I had it all packed away nicely underneath the dash, and there was a few gremlins that I was chasing, so I had to unzip tie it all and expose those wires. So I thought I'd just leave them until the day that I'm getting a roadworthy, and that way, just in case I do need to sort of get in there for whatever reason. But yeah, lights, blinkers work, reverse lights, I should say, reverse lights work, brake lights, tail lights, all the whole deal, heater, demister. Radio, I haven't actually hooked that up, so don't know if that works or not, but that's no biggie. Brakes, got the brakes working, which were a bit of a bitch actually. I'll go into that in a minute. The old emergency brake light works, which if anyone has had an issue with that staying on, they know how much of a bitch it is to figure that out. Handbrake, got that working. Cargo light, got that working. I hope. Yep. Ooh. I'm still chasing a cover for that. I think you can buy them new, but I'm trying to chase an original OEM one, which I know are hard to get, but I'll hold off until I find one. Obviously, I think maybe the seats were covered, maybe not last video, but obviously they're in. New seat belts, front and rear. How cool is that? Do you take LSD? That was on the truck when I bought it, and that's staying on there. And there's a bit of a story behind that, which maybe I'll go into another day. Seat belts are in the back as well. 6 seat belts. Funny. Never had a project that needed 6 seat belts. This truck's a bit of a combination of old and new, and I've had a few comments, people saying, oh, you need to restore the door panels, or, the shift, like the shift handle, or what do you call it, the shift stick. Give that a coat of paint, give it a coat of black and whatever. But I'm sort of like, there's parts of the truck that I'm wanting to keep as original. I mean, I think these parts tell a story, especially the back of the front seat. I mean, how many boots have been against that back seat on the way home from work? God knows what this truck was used for, but it just tells a story, and I think that's pretty cool. Like, what was in here that caused that? Looks like a bear. That's what I'm telling everyone. But yeah, all the little scratches and bits and pieces that tell stories I'm sort of keeping. Anything that's sort of handled, I think, in a way, there's, for some reason, I'm sort of keeping as it was, and that's obviously including that the shifter. All the door panels, they're all original, just cleaned up. The interior, I did give a quick paint because there were a few holes that I wanted to fill in and sort of have it smoothened out, or, original factory, which, so I sort of gave that a coat of paint. Floors being painted, although I don't really mind if it's getting scratched, as it's going to match sort of the patina of the truck. So, apart from like the dash pad, the seats, the seat belts, the vinyl floor, the steering wheel, the steering column, all those things I'm sort of pretty fastidious about. All the chrome on the dash. I'll probably go through and actually maybe give these a bit of a polish. But all those sort of things I've restored, seat frames, but also trying to keep a balance of old and new, like I said, door cards, old, bits and pieces like that. So yeah, everything is interior, everything is in order, I think. Horn, got the horn working too. Nothing, I don't think there's anything that doesn't work. Window, 2-speed wipers work, the window pissers work, all the little things that the roadie guys will pick up on here in Australia, which is just a menace. That's the way it is though. Let's go in the engine bay, have a look what is happening there, or what I've done. So the engine had a light rebuild. She is all together, she's running. She purrs like a kitten. It's an original 352, completely stock, two barrel. I think the original Ford, are they 2100s offhand? If I'm wrong, let me know. Power steering, which the High Boys didn't come out with power steering. They were all manual boxes, but I've actually put that in. Rebuilt steering box. I mean, everything's pretty much rebuilt where I could, if not buy new. Try to rebuild everything rather than actually buy new if possible. There's been so many parts on this truck that I've bought brand new and they've not worked from opening the box, which is, I guess it's no surprise these days, right? So, and it's, I enjoy getting an old part and making it new again. Try to use, all original fasteners and clamps and things like that on the engine, just to give it that sort of original OEM look. And I don't know, it's my first restoration, first OEM style restoration I normally do, excuse me, modified cars and hot rods and things like that. So everything is modified or changed, but this is the first sort of resto that I've tried to keep as close to factory spec as possible, which has been a lot of fun. A few stamps. I know a few of the boys love that. The old window, well, that's a repop window piece of bag. That's all connected, works. Yeah, like I said, rebuilt the steering box and the pump. I had a leak when I first started it, but that was only a hose fitting, which was an easy fix. What else? Yeah, new radiator. Yeah, the whole deal. Now the brakes, that was a bit of a bitch. So I wasn't sure what was going on there. I put all the brakes together and got the thing bled, and I'm like, there's no pedal. And I bought the original master cylinder that I bought, which was brand new off eBay. That was leaking, so that went out in the bin. Then I ended up sourcing this thing here, which is a drum, of course, 1-inch bore. And it's actually got original residual valves in those ports, which are hard to find these days. Got it from Rock Auto. I don't have a part number handy, but if anyone needs to know, I can certainly share that. But yeah, they've got those residual valves which keep the pressure in the lines. Now I'm not sure if that was the complete issue, but one of the issues was the original master cylinder leaking in the shaft, in the actual bore. So that was an issue. But the other issue was the front brakes. I had, the little adjusting blocks that adjust the shoes. Well, there's a left and there's a right, and I had two rights or two lefts. So when I was adjusting one of them, I was adjusting it the wrong way, and it was, opening the shoes, I think, rather than closing it. So I wasn't getting a good pedal. So that, in combination with the master cylinder, once I sorted that out, good as gold. She's, the brakes hold pressure and work really well. Exhaust, I've done the exhaust, finished that off. Probably redo the exhaust tailpipe actually. I'm not 100% on the angle and it just going straight out. So it's something that I'll probably redo. And but it's one of those things. I want to get it going. I want to get it registered, get it all legal. Then I can fiddle around with all those little things that that I don't really have to do right now. She's all dinky-die. I've taken it for a few spins, trying to get it a few miles on it, just to sort of see what it needs. I think I do have to actually adjust the steering box. There's a little bit of slop in it. Like I said, it's a new steering box, but I'll probably just do some finer tuning on that. The clutch, I need to adjust the clutch. Fuel gauge didn't work initially on my first test run. That ended up being, pulled the sender unit out, and it ended up being just a real crusty sender unit. So it's the original sender unit, but it just had a lot of surface rust on it because I'm not sure if that was, I had a lot of what do they call it? Just a lot of jam, a lot of muck in the fuel tank. It's like varnish, right? Yes, So anyway, I cleaned out the fuel tank, and the fuel tank was empty for some time, including the sender unit. So maybe it just got a bit of it just got surface rust on it, and then it went all crusty and it wouldn't work. So I pulled it apart, cleaned it up, and she works good as gold. Geez, there's probably a million and one things that I have done since that last video on this truck, but that's all I can think of right now. I do have to put new bolts in the bed. So the ones that are in there at the moment are just temporary, holding it on there. But yeah, I'll start her up. I've got a battery in. I've put a new battery. I lashed out and thought, I was taking the battery out of the old shitter, the old red shitter, and putting it in this, and that was just a pain in the ass. So I thought, spend a couple $100, get a new battery, whack it in, and she is ready to go. So let's see if we can start it. Give it a couple of pumps. Hey, oh, you gotta love the, I love that. I've got to say this. Again, like I said before, if anyone's got a emergency brake light switch that's always on, I feel your pain. It's a real bitch to sort of get that sorted. I'm a bit of a expert at it now, not blowing my own trumpet, but the same thing happened with the red truck, and I've gone through and worked out, all the do's and don'ts. But essentially, I'm loving that. Just turn it on. She turns off. Look at that. Pretty stoked on that. Small things, right? Oh shit, hold on. I've got to put a little bit of WD-40 on that return on the key. But yeah, I mean, it's not loud. It's just a quiet cream puff. L352. I mean, these things don't have that much torque in comparison to my 360 in the red truck. But I tuned the Carby, the 2100, and that made a huge difference. Just with idle starting. She's birds, loving it. Yeah, just turn that off so you can hear me. The 360 in that thing is, man, it's a machine. Compared to the 352 and the old girl behind me, I don't know whether I'm just not giving it enough because it's a new engine and I'm still running it in, sort of semi-running it in. But this old girl here, it's just a machine. Look, I love it. It's my favourite truck. It's got a lot of history with me, and I've used it for so many different things on the old farm and just interstate road trips with my wife. The thing is, it's just really close to my heart. But in saying that, yeah, I mean, I love this truck, don't get me wrong. But in comparison, the old 360, that's what I was getting at, the old 360 in this shitter is just a beast of a thing. Did a compression test on it when I first bought it. It was pretty good. It was actually really good. And definitely confirmed it's a 360. And, it doesn't use oil, it's clean oil. It's just a good, solid engine. And it cranks along the highway, with those 900 tyres, even with the 411s and the arse end, it hooks, it'll do 100 Ks, no worries. And it's, people say, oh, it must be screaming at 100 Ks. And I'm like, it's actually not with the 900s. I mean, I've never had a truck with 750s, and if it had 750s, maybe it would scream. But yeah, it's actually a comfortable drive. So kudos to the 900s, which is what I got on this. And I think I've got another set somewhere. Here we go. Yeah, good. These bad boys, they were off the old gold truck that I sold. So that's another thing that has happened. I'm not sure whether everyone knew that or not, but the Golden Child, the F250 74 Highboy, has been sold. I sold that before I moved here. I didn't want to bring it up here, and I wasn't driving it. It had, it had 43,000 original miles on it, and I didn't drive it and I didn't want to bring it up here, so sold it. It's gone up to Queensland. So what else is happening? Look, I probably won't go into too much detail. I might make another video on this Roadster here, which is a customer's car. It's a cool old traditional hot rod with a real hot little flathead in it. Great little car. It is, look at that, isn't that a thing of beauty? So this thing's in here to get finished off. And what I mean by that is it is virtually a finished car. Everything is here and everything is virtually functional. But like handbrake works, brakes, I think all the brakes did work. You know, like steering works and you know, all the pedals are in, all the fiddly things are done. But in saying that, there's still a lot of fiddly things to do. But I'm sort of here or the car's here so I can actually just go through everything and make sure everything is buttoned up. I may have to re-engineer a few things. For instance, the throttle, linkage, I'm going to re-engineer. It is on this side here, but I'm actually going to re-engineer it and put it on this side, just make it a little bit more beefier. So essentially, it's sort of, I'm not reinventing the wheel with this project. It is something that I can take what the gentleman has already done and go, okay, well, can we improve on that? How can we change that to make it better? And then do that. So currently what I'm actually working on, there's two things that I'm doing. One is the deck lid, the boot, the inner skin. So that I'll bring you around here into the welding room. So that's the original skin. I believe you can't buy them Repop, or maybe you can, but they're hard to, I really don't know, but it's got a lot of surface rust on it, some decent pitting, but that's something that could definitely be filled with a bit of high fill and maybe a little bit of filler as well. But essentially it's in really nice, well, it's in reasonable condition for its age. It did have that blister, the original blister was rusted out in the center, so I just smashed out a new one and welded that in. I've got to redo this bead here. You can see the pitting here, but look, you know, that's still solid. That'll feel nice. But obviously, you know, that bead there that would be a real bitch to sort of try to weld up and then fill with a bit of filler and sand. So I'm going to redo that. I just don't have a 1-inch bead, so I've ordered one of those. Waiting for that to get here, and I can finish that. Then that can get welded onto the outer skin, and I will need to align this deck lid onto the body. I think there's a bit of cutting and shutting to do to line up the gaps, to get it to fit, to get it to open and close. But yeah, I can go through, if you guys want to see another video of, you know, this car in more detail. I've also got another car that you guys probably, I haven't really shared, which is a 1971 Mercury Comet, which is another project that I bought. It's a little two-door thing, which I'm converting into converting into a Maverick. I'm not a huge fan of the Comet fronts. I like the tail lights, but I don't like the front end. So I've got a front end that is from a Maverick. The arse end is still Comet. But I'm torn as to what direction I'm going with that, whether it is going to be, whether it's going to be like a traditional style drag car, like a 70s, like a vintage style, you know, 70s pro stock car, or a small tire, you know, sort of turbo deal. So still working through that. But anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. This is the new digs. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you want to see more.